Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we'll be talking about those Minnesota Timberwolves. And before we start today's video, talking about the offseason recap of what they did. I want to hear your opinions down below in the comment section. What you guys think of their offseason? Hit that like and subscribe button for more NBA content like this. And yeah, I want to hear your guys' opinions if you thought this was a productive one or not. Obviously, we know how monumental it's going to be. Next week, we'll do our season previews. So let's get right into what Minnesota did this offseason after making the Western Conference Finals and, coming up short. It was a fun, season, and I think they did the smart job. First off, they got themselves their sixth man off the bench and Rob Dillingham in the draft, which I thought was smart. They got themselves some great quality player in Terrence Shannon Jr. I think Jesse Edwards on a two-way, that guy from Portsmouth, 7-footer who runs great. He's from the Netherlands. Fantastic. They brought in PJ Dozier, who's Tim Connolly's special. Joe Ingles, a little three-point shooting with playmaking. Brought back Daishen and Luka Garza. I really like that. And obviously we knew this is a team that's limited financially and draft capital wise, but they were able to do whatever they could to improve this roster after losing the Western Conference Final. Basically, the rest of their draft asset, which was the right to swap picks in 2030 and their unprotected 2031st, was sent out to get themselves Rob Dillingham as the 8th pick. And then they also got themselves with the 27th pick, Shannon, to help them, solidify the bench and upgrade it from Kyle Anderson and Monte Morris. So for me, I think the whole thing is, Rudy Gobert's allegedly extension eligible, and they're probably not going to give him the 4-year $243 million extension, but we wonder what's going to be the money that they do give him, as that's going to be something that's important. So let's get right into talking what are we thinking about, or what are we looking at when we're talking about a team like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are facing a pretty pivotal offseason as we fully get underway into the money that is Anthony Edwards making $42 million, Jaden McDaniels 23, Karl Anthony Towns at 49, Rudy Gobert 43, sixth man of the year, Naz Reid making just under 14. So you assume the 8-man rotation, you already see the 5-man starting lineup. Sixth man is Naz, and then Rob Dillingham and Nickeil Alexander and Terrence Shannon or Joe Ingles, right? We'd assume something along the lines like that would make sense. But I think a team that's coming off of its most successful season in 20 years. Obviously, they were able to extend one of the best coaches in the league in Chris Finch to a contract, which was huge. They drafted Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon, and they were able to, obviously see that Anthony Edwards played, got minutes with Team USA, being around other superstars and just taking that all in. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker got extra minutes with Canada. So the whole thing is, are they good enough to go against Boston, Dallas, OKC? Maybe the Knicks are the other team. Are they good enough? Have they put themselves into position to be a threat? And I think that's the biggest question that they're looking at. And I think that they are. Sorry, my guys. I thought I took that off the screen. I think they have put themselves in that position. They have a defensive-minded team. They have the scorers. I genuinely, I don't know what to expect with Karl Anthony Towns in the terms of. All right, so let's talk about the team when we want to get. I guess the right way to put this would be when it comes down to it. This was a team that technically one game behind the top 2 seeds in the Western Conference. They're basically a top 3 team in the NBA. So you got your 26 point per game scorer, who's probably going to be a 30 point per game scorer in Anthony Edwards next year. Karl Anthony Towns put up 22 points a game. He played 62 games. He had 14 tonight from Naz Reid, 14 from Rudy Gobert, 11.5 from Mike Conley, 10.5 from Jaden McDaniels, 8 from Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and he had 5 coming from Monte Morris. So you're hoping Rob Dillingham can give you 10. I've also been saying that Rob Dillingham, expect a Bones Highland production. So Bones Highland played 19 minutes a night, 10 points a game his rookie year, 10, 3, and 3. If Bones can give us, Rob can give us that similar stat line as Bones, I'm cool with it. So the past 2 seasons, we only saw 29 games with Carl before he got hurt in 22 to 23, but he put up 21 points a game. This past season, he put up just under 22. If Carl can get back to being, and I know he's away from the basket, and he's putting up only 15 shots a game, but he's still, and ever since he's been putting up like 14, 15 shots, he's been a 20 point per game scorer. But in a similar shot selection where putting up 16 field goals a game, I think he does need to get up to, if he can get back to those 2019-20 numbers where he had 26 points, but it's primary, I'm not even caring about the 26 points. He was putting up 8 threes a game. Right now he's putting up last 2 seasons like 5.5. If he can get back up there, I just think that's the whole thing why they did continuity with those rosters. Just like you can see if they run this back, there's actual, I think, feasible ways for this team to look good and to improve. And I don't think they're put in a box. So to see where they're at and how close they can be, obviously we're hoping, Karl-Anthony Towns can get those numbers back up, but a guy like Jaden McDaniels can get, maybe being a 13 point per game scorer or just hover around the same thing. I guess, yeah, maybe I'm asking too much for him to take the jump, but if Rudy being 14 point per game scorer is great too. I do like this team. I think when you look at it, Anthony Edwards and Mike Conley and Jaden McDaniels, I just wish there was another scorer. And that's why down the road, for example, this is what as a Timberwolves fan myself, I wonder, let's say next offseason, we make it back to the Western Conference Finals, we lose in 7 games. Do we extend Rudy Gobert? Let's say we get a cheap deal and we get him on a 4-year, $100 million deal. That's like $20 million cheaper than what we're paying him now. And we decide to trade Karl-Anthony Towns. Who are we getting? I just think the whole thing is, as much as I like Karl-Anthony Towns, I just think it'd be better if we had, I guess it's good we have a big and he's a power forward right now. I just think my whole fear is I'd rather have a wing or a guard next to like Anthony Edwards being that takeover guy. I just don't know who you go out and get, and that's the whole problem. So if you made it to the end of the video right here, I do thank you guys for rocking with me. You guys are the world. And yeah, and expecting the next week, the latter half of all these videos to come out in terms of the previews, which I know you guys will enjoy. But that's it for me, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. Like, comment, and subscribe, everybody.